Well, yeah, I mean, we've been waiting 18 years for this, so we're excited about it. We've been working hard to get to this day. We think it's a sign that it is a whole new day for treating Alzheimer's and dementia. And on some levels, it is a game changer. But the big question about how big of an effect does it have on patients remains to be determined in the next few years.
So $56,000, I know that insurance could help allay that cost, but when you consider the high cost of the drug, is it really worth it? And is this really available for everyone?
Right. Yeah, I think cost and access is something that's a big issue here. We want this to be available for everybody who will benefit from it. One of the big issues we have is understanding who is the right patient for this drug and who will benefit. So these kind of cost effectiveness analyses will be studies that need to happen in the next few years. And this drug was approved with that in mind, that we'll be collecting data and we'll be cautiously moving this drug to the patients who need it and beginning to understand who's going to benefit, who's not, and make sure we're getting it to the right patients.
And if you could sort of explain for us, why has it been so difficult to treat Alzheimer's and find a cure?
Yeah, right. That's the big question. And really, our understanding of what's going on in Alzheimer's disease, in the brain of a patient with Alzheimer's disease, is incomplete. We've been looking at amyloid plaques under the microscope for 120 years since Dr. Alzheimer first described it. And thus, it's a primary target that we've been focused on. But the big question is, what else is contributing to Alzheimer's disease? We now know it's a very complex disease. There's probably many pathways to the dementia syndrome of Alzheimer's disease. And so understanding that process it's incomplete, and therefore our approaches to treating it are incomplete. So right now we're targeting amyloid, and we've been working on amyloid on targeting it therapeutically like this for a good 15, 20 years. But there's other things at play in Alzheimer's disease, and we need to go after those things as well.
So what does this particular development do in terms of furthering other Alzheimer's drugs, treatment and research? Could we see more options reach this level?
Yeah, I mean, that's why I'm so hopeful. I mean, I do think this is a new day for fighting Alzheimer's disease. We've got another tool that we can use in the fight, but I see it bringing more innovation to the field. I see it bringing more financial support into this fight. There are some people who fear that this will just push people to focus solely on amyloid, but I'm a little more optimistic, and I think what it's going to do is drive more innovation and more investment into those other targets that we think are part of the picture in Alzheimer's disease.
And very quickly, Dr. Burns, any concerns or unknowns to consider with this drug?
Well, I mean, there are side effects, and the FDA approved this very broadly, where basically anyone with Alzheimer's disease under the label could be treated. And what we've got to figure out right away is who's the right patient. The studies were tested in people with very mild or mild Alzheimer's disease. And so the data that suggests there's a clinical benefit and supports that idea that patients will do better on this drug was collected in people in those early stages. So big questions like, will patients in the moderate to severe stages benefit from this drug, are unknown. And so we got to be really careful with how we use this drug and be cautious and step forward responsibly and collect that data we need and get that experience we need to understand who's the right patient and how do we use this optimally.